Welcome to ParkTV 16 sports broadcast of girls varsity softball. We're broadcasting from Aquila Park, the home of the St. Louis Park Oriole girls varsity team, where today they will take on the visiting Chaska Hawks for a West Metro Conference matchup. Coming into the game today, the Chaska Hawks have an 8-6 record, and the Orioles have a 6-4 record. And before we get going here, the lineup for the Chaska Hawks, who will be batting first here in the top of the first. Batting number 1 is Haley Haas, third baseman, followed by Micaiah Johnson. Batting third is Sydney Swenson. Batting fourth, Kenzie Bachman. And here is the first pitch to Haley Haas. Haley Haas is a junior third baseman, and she takes strike 1 to start out the game. Pitching today for the Orioles is Annabelle Schutte, number 20. And quickly, she has a 2-strike count on Haley Haas. And the pitch on away, low and inside, ball 1. 2-1 to Haas. Following Kenzie Bachman, batting fifth will be Ronnie Quinn, followed by Taylor Brandt. As Haas looks at ball 2, 2-2.
Anything close, anything close.
Swung on by Haas to the third baseman, who picks it up and puts her out. The third baseman is number 8, Sophie Ullman, to Savannah Romero for the first out of the game. Next up is Michaela Johnson, a catcher, senior for the Chaska Hawks. 1 out, nobody on. Second batter of the matchup.
Hey, let's go, AB.
Swung on, and a base hit right up the middle for Michaela Johnson. So with 1 out, the Hawks get a base runner on first base, and that'll bring up number 9, Sydney Swenson, the left fielder. Swenson is a junior, and she'll step in to face Annabelle Schutte, the pitcher for the Orioles, and it's on the way, and a swing and a miss. Strike 1 to Swenson. Following Taylor Brandt in the 6th position batting for the Hawks, Jessica Wolfer, the right fielder, followed by Sydney, and that is swung on by Swenson, and again to the third baseman, Sophia Ullman, and over to first base, Romero for the second putout. But that it does advance the runner and puts Michaela Johnson on second base with 2 outs and in scoring position for Kenzie Bachman, first baseman, Chaska Hawks. She is a senior, and their number 3 hitter looking to drive in Michaela Johnson, and the first pitch is called a ball, just a little bit high there. A lot of pace on that pitch. She brought the heat. And here's the pitch on away, and swung on right to the shortstop, Maddie McIntosh, who gets it over to Romero for the 3rd out, and that's the end of the first inning. 1 hit, no errors, no runs across. We go to the bottom of the first, and up to bat are going to be Buddy Crompton's, the coach for the Orioles, and his lineup today is as follows. Leading off and playing shortstop, Maddie McIntosh. Up second, Savannah Romero, first baseman. Romero is a sophomore. McIntosh is also a sophomore. Batting third, number 11, Anya Lindale Paulson, the left fielder. She is a senior. Next up after her, batting fourth, Sophie Ullman. Sophie's the first baseman, and she is a junior. Up next, batting fifth will be Annabelle Schutte. She's the pitcher, followed by Maddie Cassio in center field, and then another Maddie. 3 Maddies on this team. Must have been a popular name about 17 years ago. She's the catcher, followed by Lindsay Olson, who's the designated hitter, or player in this case, followed by Caitlin Seaman. She's the second baseman, and then Megan Perks is the flex right field player. The sub-listed, who will probably come in later, is a Maggie Klein, not Maddie. So 3 Maddies on the Oriole lineup to face the Chaska Hawks, and their pitcher is Riley Collins, number 16. She's taking her warm-ups to face the Orioles. Now, these teams met once before, and the Orioles got the best of the Hawks 6-3 back in April. So Chaska looking to pay back the favor by suffering a home loss to the same St. Louis Park Orioles. And we'll see if they have an answer for the Orioles. So we're about ready to begin the bottom of the first. Up first is Maddie McIntosh, the shortstop.
Number 6, Maddie McIntosh.
McIntosh steps into the batter's box, and we're ready to begin the bottom of the first inning. Pitch on away in the dirt, gets by the catcher, ball 1. Not exactly the way you want to start a softball match here if you're the pitcher. So Riley Collins pitching to Maddie McIntosh, and there's a strike call, 1-1 to McIntosh. Ooh, and that is swung on way early. McIntosh didn't seem to pick up on that ball, was nowhere near it. So now she's in a bit of a hole, 2 strikes, 1 ball. And that is swung on, and it's just a little blooper to the shortstop. Number 10, Ronnie Quinn gets the unassisted put out for out number 1. And that brings up Savannah Romero, the first baseman, number 7. Orioles looking for their first hit of the afternoon. She's a sophomore, or excuse me. Yeah, she's a sophomore. And Maddie McIntosh was also a sophomore, so the Orioles have some youth on this team. Romero looked at ball, a strike 1 there from Collins. And that's a high fastball, swung on and missed, strike 2 to Savannah Romero. Lots of chatter from the Oriole bench, supporting their teammates at the plate, and that one is high, ball 1. 1-2. To the first baseman, sophomore Savannah Romero. Swung on, and strike 3. Romero goes down swinging. First strikeout recorded for Collins. She gets a healthy round of applause from her infielders. And that brings up number 11 for the Orioles, Anya Lindell Paulson, the left fielder, with 2 outs, nobody on. Pitch on away, strike call. After that first pitch, Collins has really settled down here and finding the strike zone. Swung on, blooper into short center field, and up comes the center fielder, Taylor Brandt, to make the 3rd out, and that'll end the first, 0-0. Since both these teams are intra-conference rivals, they have played many or several common opponents. And sometimes you can get an insight into whether these teams are trending towards the positive or the negative. As I indicated, they had played once before, back in April, each other, with the Orioles getting the best of the Hawks. But they've both played Bloomington Jefferson. Chaska lost to them 7-2 back on April 6th, and St. Louis Park lost to them 15-0. Then Chaska played Jefferson again on May 3rd, and we don't have a reported score there, but the Orioles played them a second time and lost only 4-0. So the Orioles were not able to get any runs against Jefferson in both of their games, and Chaska wasn't able to beat them. They both have played Richfield, and they both won all 4 of those games. So those matchups are over. And then the Bloomington Kennedy, the Hawks beat them and the Orioles lost. So stepping into the batter's box for the Hawks is number 10, Ronnie Quinn, the shortstop, and she swings on that first pitch and fouls it off, foul of the third base, and that will be strike 1 to the number 5 hitter, Ronnie Quinn, shortstop, batting left-handed. Pitch on away and just a bit inside. Ball 1, 1-1 to Quinn. Nice afternoon here at Aquila Park. The sun had just came out at game time after a little bit of rain this afternoon. And there's a base hit to left field for Ronnie Quinn. So with nobody out, the Hawks have a base runner, and that brings up Taylor Brandt. Number 25, the center fielder. Pitch on away, strike call.
Here we go, Taylor!
Pitch on away, looked a little bit high. Count 1-1.
Here we go, Taylor!
There's a strike call, so 2-1 to Taylor Brandt. She's in a bit of a hole. She'd like to advance the runner. I'll note that the last game between these two was only 6-3, not a lot of runs. And there's a big swing and a miss by Taylor Brandt. Strike out. First out recorded and first strikeout recorded for the St. Louis Park Orioles. Pitch on away. And batting now is Jessica Wolfer. She's the right fielder.
Jessica! One down.
Pitch on away, swung on, and just gets by the second baseman for a base hit. Caitlin Seaman lunged for the ball, but was unable to come up with it. And so that was a solid hit by Wolfer, and that prompts a meeting from Buddy Crompton, and the whole team has joined in, even the outfielders. So we have a big conference committee going on at the mound, and with one out, he is likely going over different scenarios of where the ball might be hit. And coming up to bat will be Sydney Wisdorf, and she is the designated player, so she's probably a pretty decent hitter. Basically another name for a designated hitter, and so he's just going through the scenarios. If it's an infield hit to the left side of the infield, they definitely want to get a double play here with one out. If it's hit to the outfield, hit the cutoff, different scenarios, and also maybe to talk to the pitcher on how to pitch this person, who is Sydney Wisdorf. So she steps in and she fakes a bunt but pulls back, and it's a called strike. 0-1 the count to Wisdorf. See if she feigns a bunt attempt again, and she does square to bunt, pulls back, strike 2. If she's using that as a distraction technique, it's not working, because those are 2 called strikes.
Here we go, Sydney!
So if you're the Orioles, you want your pitcher to go after this hitter right now. 2 strikes, and timeout is called. Wisely, perhaps, Sydney Wisdorf. That is sometimes the mental game. She thought the pitcher was taking too long. And here's the pitch on away and inside. Ball 1. 1-2 to Wisdorf. Annabelle Schutte with a 2-strike count and throws that one high. She doesn't want to give her anything good with a 2-strike advantage, but now it's even at 2-2.
Staying close.
And if you're Sydney Wisdorf, you can be expecting a little better pitch here. And there she does swing on it and fouls it back and to the right. Count remains 2-2. And the pitch on away and swung on, and it's McIntosh fields it and forces out number 10, the base runner at third base. Ronnie Quinn is put out for the second out. Well done, well played by the shortstop, getting the force out at 3. So now there are 2 outs, 2 runners on, and next to bat is Lindsey Moore, the second baseman for the Chaska Hawks. Lindsey Moore is a 9th grader, a freshman, and she takes strike 1. Schutte is a junior, and she is facing the number 9 hitter in the batting order. So I expect her to go after her and try to strike her out to end this threat. And there's a pitch on away, ball called inside, so it's 2-1 to the freshman, Lindsey Moore.
Look for it, Lindsay. Look for it.
Runners on first and second for the Hawks, and that is swung on, and that's gonna be a tough play as it drops just out over the first baseman's head. A Texas blooper, if you will. And fielded quickly by the right fielder, number 3, Megan Perkins, and she does a nice job hustling up. That ball had seeing eyes and just found the open spot. So tough break for Schutte and the St. Louis Park Orioles there. It wasn't well hit. It was a good pitch and just found the opening. So now bases loaded, 2 outs, and the top of the order, Haley Haas, the third baseman, steps in with a chance to do some damage with 2 outs. 2 runners in scoring position. Top of the second, no score. Pitch on away, ball 1, and that is a second ball. Schutte now falls behind in the count here with bases loaded and 2 outs. In a bit of a jam. Pitch on away, swung on, and just gets by the first baseman, and it is called fair as it goes down the right field line. Picked up by Megan Perkins, who quickly gets it in, and you've got a 2 RBI base hit by Haley Haas with 2 outs, and the Hawks draw first blood and are up 2-0 on a well-hit ball that just skirted the inside of that first base. Savannah Romero tried to stop it, but there was too much pace on that ball, and it got into the corner down the right field line, and in come 2 runs. So that brings up Michaela Johnson with a runner on third and first for the Hawks. Still 2 outs. Possible force outs at second and 1 on a ground ball to get out of this inning. Schutte fell behind in the count on that last at-bat that led to the 2 runs, and she paid for it by having to bring a strike right down the middle, and the number 1 batter, Haas, knew what to do with it and put it down the first base line for a 2 RBI single. And there's a swung on, and it is hit deep way back and turns around. The center fielder, Maddie Cassio, was going to her left and then had to turn back around to her right as the ball dropped in front of her. So she had a hard time tracking that ball, and it lands for a double for Michaela Johnson as she drives in 2 runs, and now quickly it's 4-0 Hawks in just the top of the first inning, and that spurs another committee meeting, this time without the coach. So with 2 outs, there's a runner on second, and that brings up the number 3 hitter Sydney Swenson. A base hit will score a 5th run, most likely. And nothing hurts more than scoring 2 runs, and there is a base hit up the middle. That should score. Another run for the Hawks, and that is what happens. Michaela Johnson scores from second base. What a second inning the Hawks are having. All of this damage has been done with 2 outs, and they have now put a 5 spot, and they're not done yet. That brings up the cleanup hitter now, Kenzie Bachman, the first baseman for the Hawks. Kenzie is a senior infielder. Today she's playing first base, and she takes strike 1 from the pitcher, Schutte. Pitch on away, and that is swung on, and that gets through the hole between third and short. And while the left fielder was playing in, she was unable to get the force out at second base. So the second out rally continues for the Chaska Hawks, and that brings up Ronnie Quinn, the lefty shortstop, which is unusual for a shortstop to be a left-handed hitter. I think she might throw right. We'll have to notice that. Pretty unusual to see a left-handed shortstop. And the first pitch is called a ball. 1-0 to Ronnie Quinn, trying to keep the 2-out rally going. And that ball is inside. So 2 balls, no strikes. Annabelle Schutte's struggling here, finding the strike zone. She's thrown a lot of pitches this inning. Pitch on away, swung on, and nicely picked up by the third baseman, but the throw is in the dirt. So that'll be a throwing error attributed to Sophie Ullman, the third baseman. Boy, she did a really nice job stabbing that ball at third baseman. There was some pace on that hit, but the throw came up in the dirt, and the first baseman was unable to handle it. So now bases loaded once again. Second time bases are loaded for the Hawks, and steps into the batter's box is Taylor Brandt, the center fielder. And that first pitch is a high fastball, swung on and missed, strike 1 to Taylor Brandt.
Here we go, Taylor!
Taylor Brandt is a junior outfielder. Today, she is playing center field. And the count is 1-1. They're getting the first 2 outs. The Orioles have really struggled here. And there's a second strike. So this time, Annabelle Schutte is up in the count. It's been a long top half of the second inning for the Orioles. They'd love nothing better than get off the field and start hitting. And there's a strike 3 with the high hard one from Annabelle Schutte, and that will end the top of the second inning. Chaska puts 5 on the board, and they lead 5-0.
1, 2, 3 here. 1, 2, 3. Don't let up here. Dominate. Yes, Lindsay.
So looking at the schedule for the Orioles, prior to tonight's match, as we indicated, they are 6-4 and 3-1 here at home here at Aquila Park in Western St. Louis Park. They're 2-3 on the road, and they've won 1 game coming into this. The wins have come against West Lutheran and Plymouth. That was a home win, and the other win they got was at Richfield. They won 5-0, and then they beat Chaska on April 20th, 6-3. And their other wins were against Kennedy 11-3, Benilde St. Margaret's, the rivalry game 7-2. And then they beat Richfield once again just the other day on May 8th. That was Monday, 13-4. Their losses have come 2 to Jefferson, another 1 to Kennedy, and then they lost at Visitation in Mendota Heights. So Chaska is now going to face the Orioles here in the bottom of the second inning. Leading off this inning is number 12, Sophie Ullman, the third baseman. With a nice fielding play, but unfortunately a throw was in the dirt. And she faces a nice pitch there and hit up the middle into the bit of the gap. Will she try for second base? No, she won't. So that's a nice start for the Orioles. And Sophie Ullman to make up for that error in the top of the second. So on the first pitch, the Orioles got a base runner, and so that should give them some momentum after allowing the Hawks to put up 5 in the top of the second. Definitely want to answer back with at least a run or 2 here. So the pitch on away from Riley Collins. To Annabelle Schutte, pitcher against pitcher. And the count is 0-1 to Annabelle Schutte. Pitch on away, and she pulled her head, strike 2 on that swing. Looks like she took her eye off the ball. So she is quickly in the hole to Riley Collins, the pitcher for the Hawks. No balls, 2 strikes. And she was nowhere near that. She strikes out swinging for the first out. And the second strikeout for Collins this game. So that puts the Hawks in double play position on the infield and brings up Maddie Cassio, the center fielder, number 13. Trying to do anything to advance her teammate, number 12, Sophie Ullman, who had a nice base hit to right center field to lead off this inning. And the first pitch to Cassio is a ball, 1-0. Pitch on away, and that is lined through the hole between first and second for a base hit for Cassio. So that puts runners on first and second with just 1 out. And that'll bring up Maddie Schmitz, number 8, as she steps into the box. There she is, takes her practice swings. And now there is a runner in scoring position. And the Orioles could use a run here just to break back the incredible inning that the Hawks had, scoring 5. A pitch on away from Collins is high, ball 1. You can see Ullman took a big lead off second base after that pitch was thrown. No steal though. Pitch on away by Collins, and that is low, ball 2. So a favorable count here to Maddie Schmitz, the center fielder. Chance to put the Orioles on the board here with a base hit, and there's a strike call from Collins. So 2 balls, 1 strike. To the number 7 hitter, Maddie Schmitz. Pitch on away, swung on, fouled back. Straight back. So the count is now 2 balls, 2 strikes. 1 out, so infield fly rule in effect. That's a pop out, and within the infield is an automatic out. And it's swung on right to the shortstop, who tries for the double play and doesn't get it. Boy, that was close. I think the throw got there in time. Let's see. Not a lot on that. Just couldn't get over the shortstop, and she throws, and boy, I think the ball got there first. So the Orioles get away with not having a double play called on them. It was a bang-bang play. And now there is some discussion between the umpires on that call, but it doesn't change anything. So Ullman remains safe at second base. And so we have 2 on, runners on second and first, 2 outs. And that brings up Lindsay Olson, the designated pitcher player, number 4. So with 2 outs, the Orioles would like nothing better than to return the favor. Nothing hurts more than scoring runs with 2 outs. Pitch on away, and that is a little low, but called a strike right at the knees. So in the hole quickly is Lindsay Olson. No balls, 2 strikes. Just looking to find some green with that, with a base hit, and she swings and misses, and Riley Collins survives the threat with the strikeout, and that means no 2 hits for the Park Orioles, no runs across, 5-0 as we go to the top of the third. So the St. Louis Park Orioles had a chance to, what I like to use as a tennis term is to break back. You know, whenever, when I used to play, if the other team scored, even if they got a lot of runs on you, if you could just at the very next half inning when you're up, get a run or 2 back, it sort of lessens the momentum effect for the other team and gives your team a psychological benefit if you can just, you know, get a run or 2 back right away. Otherwise, it just builds more confidence in your opponent. So if you can break right back, it's sort of like in tennis when you break serve, and then if you lost your serve and if you can break the other person back right away, it's sort of even Steven. But that didn't happen for the Orioles. So now, after giving up 5 runs in the top of the second, they're obviously going to look to try to do better here. And so there's a little bit of a pep talk there at the mound as we begin the top of the third. And leading off the top of the third is number 7 for the Hawks. And that is Jessica Wolfer, the right fielder, as she takes strike 1 to lead off the third. 0-1 the count to Wolfer. Annabelle Shooting still pitching as she gets a second strike. So quickly in the hole is Jessica Wolfer.
Here we go, Jessica!
Pitch on away inside. Ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Here we go, 7. Here we go, 7. Started.
And there is strike 3. Nice start there for Annabelle Schutte. After giving up 5 last inning, she gets a strikeout on Wolfer. So that's the first out, and that brings up number 8. Sydney Wisdorf, the designated player. Last time up, she faked a couple of bunts. I don't know if she was seriously thinking about bunting. It didn't appear so. If she does it as a distraction to the pitcher, it didn't work, as I recall. Both times she squared around to bunt and pulled back, there were strike calls on her. So maybe she's abandoned that approach to hitting in this matchup. So now we have ball 1, strike 1. Pitch on away from Schutte, and that is strike 2. Fastball right at the letters. Nice pitch by Schutte.
Use it, use it.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Whoa, the umpire just called that a ball. Hesitated. It was a close pitch. Almost rung her up, but now it's 2-2. And that ball is fouled off to the right side. It appeared to me that Wisdorf just barely got a piece of it to stay alive at 2-2. Nobody on, 1 out here, top of the third. Pitch on away has never had a chance. It looked like it slipped out of Schutte's hand there. It is warming up. It was much cooler earlier today. We had some rain, but the skies are clearing and the temperature is going up really quickly here. And so there it's swung on, and a Texas blooper into short right center field, and backing up to make a nice catch is the second baseman, Caitlin Seaman. Nice catch by her. Backing up, it's always easier to catch a ball running in than it is moving back, but she gets that second out, and so with nobody on, that brings up brings to the plate number 5, Lindsay Moore, the second baseman for the Hawks. And on that first pitch, she takes strike one. So Annabelle Schutte has really settled down after a kind of a shaky second inning. She's got 2 outs, no base runners for the first time.
Confidence,
1-1 the count to Lindsay Moore. And she swings at a low pitch. She chases it outside of the strike zone. So quickly, Schutte is now up in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Lindsay Moore. Pitch on away, high and outside. So Schutte's mixing her pitches up quite well. She had a 2-strike advantage, so there's no reason to throw anything right down the middle. And pitch on away, swung on, fouled back. Count remains 2-2. Here's the pitch on away. Swung on, but dropped third, and she just got a piece of it. Foul tip straight back. So the count again remains 2-2. Swung on right back to the pitcher Schutte, who gets it over to Savannah Romero for the 3rd out. So nice clean inning there for Schutte as she holds the Hawks hitless and scoreless in the top of the 3rd. And so we'll go to the bottom of the 3rd. 5-0 Chaska Hawks. Looking at Chaska's record here and who they've played. The next games they have coming up is they're going to Chanhassen, who is the class of the league. They're ranked number 1 in the state. Chaska, I believe Chanhassen is 11-0, I think, the last time I saw. And when we were broadcasting from Benilde St. Margaret's last Friday, there was talk among some of the people that are connected to Benilde St. Margaret softball about how good Chanhassen is, that they are really the class of the state when it comes to girls softball. So Chaska's going to have their work cut out for them tomorrow afternoon at 7 o'clock on the road to Chanhassen. Although Chaska and Chanhassen, there's just a short jaunt down or up Highway 41 from Chaska to Chanhassen, so it's not a long commute. All right, we're about to begin the bottom of the 3rd. Orioles facing a 5-0 deficit, and stepping in is the second baseman, number 56, Caitlin Seaman, and she swings on the first pitch, and a dribbler to the first baseman, who turns and throws it to the second baseman, who was nicely covering there. Textbook play there. Nice play from the first baseman to the second baseman on that play. Well coached and well executed. So quickly 1 out for Riley Collins as she faces the second batter. And that is number 6, Maddie McIntosh, top of the order. So this is the second time around that they get to see Collins pitching. So hopefully the Orioles will have a little more success as McIntosh faces an 0-1 pitch, and now she's quickly in the hole, 0-2 to Riley Collins. So already 1 out here, bottom of the 1st, and quickly down, Maddie McIntosh is down 0-2. Pitch on away, and that is inside for ball 1. Pitch on away. Two balls, 2 strikes to Maddie McIntosh. Pitch on away, foul back. McIntosh stays alive. Collins, the sophomore pitcher, looks in, delivers the pitch. Took something off that pitch, a bit of a changeup, and McIntosh stays alive, just gets a piece of it. That was a nice pitch by Collins and a nice job at the plate by McIntosh. She was way ahead of that pitch, but was still able to slow down her swing to just get a piece of it and avoid strike 3. So here we are, 2-2, 1 out. And that is swung on, another foul. It's at least the third one at this at-bat, so McIntosh is making Collins work for it here. The more pitches you can get them, the more tired they get, which can create more scoring possibilities later in the game. So nice job here by McIntosh, especially if she can get a base hit here and there that's low, or work a walk. So now the count is full. 3-2 payoff pitch, and swung on to the second baseman, who quickly gets it over to first base for the putout. Lindsay Moore does a nice job getting it over Kenzie Bachman for the second out, and so that brings up the number 2 hitter for the Orioles. That's Savannah Romero taking her warm-up. Swings, and with 2 outs and nobody on, she'll try to start a rally here. As Collins looks in, trying to go 1-2-3 here in the third. And that ball is swung on, foul, left third baseline. So 0-1 the count to Savannah Romero. Pitch on away, and that ball is high. So 1-1 the count. Romero, the sophomore, swings at it, base hit. Nicely done. She finds some green space in left field. Well hit over the shortstop head and in the hole. So we have a 2-out base runner for number 11, the number 3 hitter and left fielder, Anya Paulson steps in. The senior outfielder trying to move her teammate around for a score here. Orioles need to get something on the board here. As we near the midway point of this game between West Metro Conference rivals, Chaska Hawks, St. Louis Park Orioles, and the pitch on away. And that is called, I believe it was a ball. So 1-1 the count. To Anya Lindale Paulson, the left fielder, looking to advance the runner. Pitch on away, and she takes inside, ball 2, good eye. Anya Lindale Paulson, the number 3 hitter, digs into the batter's box. Pitch on away, and that is low. So now it's 3-1, 2 outs to Anya Paulson. And so I would expect she will get a good pitch here. I'd look for her to be swinging. And that ball is high, and the first walk given up by Riley Collins puts a runner in scoring position for the St. Louis Park Orioles with 2 outs, which is now an opportunity for Sophie Ullman, who had a nice base hit last time up. You'll remember that it went sharply to right field, almost was a gapper all the way to the fence, but it was cut off, but was well hit. So she looks in with a chance to get an RBI with a hit here. And that next pitch is a ball, so Riley Collins, pitcher for the Hawks, the last couple batters having a difficult time, or at least exhibiting a more difficult time finding the strike zone. She looks in with the windup and the pitch Oh, and that was a generous strike call. Look, that was high and outside. So 1-1 the count, nevertheless. To the third baseman and cleanup hitter Sophie Ullman. She'd love nothing better than to get a hit here, and she swings way late on that pitch. And there's a throw from the catcher to the first baseman, trying to catch Anya Lindell Paulson napping at first base, but she gets back safely and avoids the tag out. So 1 ball, 2 strikes now to Ullman, and that ball's in the dirt and gets by the catcher all the way to the backstop. So both runners advance, and that is now a prime opportunity here for Sophie Ullman with 2 outs and 2 runners now in scoring position. She would love Kylie to make Kylie Rollins pay for that, Riley Collins pay for that hit. So here it is, 2 balls, 2 strikes, and she takes a little off that pitch, Collins does. Ullman was in front, but just was able to foul tip it. So the count remains 2 balls, 2 strikes. Runners on second and third, 2 outs. And the pitch on away, swung on right to the second baseman for the 3rd out. So the St. Louis Park Orioles threaten but do not score. And it's 5-0 as we go to the top of the 4th inning, and the Chaska Hawks will be coming up. Leading off for them in the next inning here will be Riley Collins, the pitcher, followed by Haley Haas and Michaela Johnson, as they enjoy a 5-0 comfortable lead here as we approach the midway point of this game. It's moving along quickly on a beautiful no-wind Wednesday afternoon here in mid-May, St. Louis Park, Minnesota. Everything is greened up after some rains, so it's just a beautiful afternoon for sports. Schutte comes back out for the Orioles to pitch the 4th. She's gone the whole way. Just had that 1 bad second inning, walked a few, gave up some key hits, all with 2 outs. It was 0-0 with 2 outs, and then the Orioles strung a few hits together and put up the 5 spot, and that's been the score so far, all coming in the top of the 2nd inning for the Krista Stordalka's Chaska Hawks. Christina Sadolka is the head coach of the Hawks. So we're about to begin the 2nd inning, and Haley Haas will be leading off, not Riley Collins. She is the flex player, so that means Haley Haas will lead off. She's the leadoff hitter, and she takes strike 1 from Annabelle Schutte, the pitcher for the Orioles. 0-1 the count, and it is swung on to short left field, and well played by number 11, Anya Lindell Paulson, who was playing in closely in left field and was able to make easy work of that ball. She was already right there, just a few steps in and to her left, and she easily makes the put out. So nice start for the Orioles, and there on the first pitch to the 2nd batter, number 1 goes to Ullman, the 3rd baseman, quickly over to Savannah Romero, and that puts out Michaela Johnson, the 2nd hitter, and quickly there are 2 outs, and stepping in is number 9 for the Hawks, Sydney Swenson, the left fielder. So nice work by Annabelle Schutte here, and she leads off with another strike. She's really settled down, doing a nice job since that rough 2nd inning. Pitch on away and swung on, infield pop-up to Maddie McIntosh, who makes easy work of that, and that's an easy 1-2-3 inning for the St. Louis Park Orioles. As we go to the bottom of the 4th, they're down 5-0. So coming up for the Orioles in the bottom of the 4th inning will be Annabelle Schutte. I believe the pitcher is leading off. And she does emerge from the dugout, and I think, yeah, she'll be leading off, Annabelle Schutte, and she'll be followed by Maddie Cassio, the center fielder, and followed by Maddie Schmitz. So that's who Riley Collins, who comes out to pitch the bottom of the fourth. So far, she's got a shutout going, and she'll face her fellow colleague for the Orioles, the pitcher Annabelle Schutte, who could help herself out here with a leadoff hit. Orioles need to get some runs on the board. So the warm-ups are over for Riley Collins, and there is the obligatory committee meeting at the mound, which has been adjourned. And so Schutte walks to the plate. Not a lot of preparation in the dugout. She just steps right in, no pushing the dirt around, no digging in. She just steps right in there. Bit of an open stance she has, and she checks her swing, and the plate umpire goes to the first base, and he calls it a strike. So Schutte 0-1 on the hesitation, checked swing, called a strike. Pitch on away is high, ball one. So 1-1 the count to Annabelle Schutte, the junior pitcher. And the fastball misses the strike zone. So 2-1 the count to Annabelle Schutte. She'll be followed by Maddie Cassio. And a big swing and a miss. She was a little bit behind on that high fastball by Riley Collins. She really brought the heat on that one. So now the count is 2-2. Nobody out. Bottom of the fourth. And way behind, strike three on that. That Annabelle Schutte was nowhere near that pitch, really behind on that fastball. So that records the first out. Another strikeout for Riley Collins. I believe that's her third of the match. And that will now bring up Maddie Cassio, the center fielder, number 13. She steps in to face number 16 there, Riley Collins. And here's the windup, pitch on away, and that is swung on. First pitch right to the shortstop, and she quickly gets it over to Bachman. So nice play. She got a nice little hop there. Ronnie Quinn gets the put out. So now quickly 2 outs as Riley Collins makes short work of Maddie Cassio. So that brings up Maddie Schmitz, the catcher, number 8, as she digs in, calling time. That's with hands up there. She prepares the batter's box. Ready to go here. Pitch on away from Collins. And that is swung on. Strike one. Foul ball to the right side. So Riley Collins cruising along here in the fourth. No real threats. The Orioles did have runners on second and third a couple innings ago and were unable to punch one through. And there is a ball that is not hit well, and that will lead to a base hit for Maddie Schmitz. So a 2-out base hit puts her on first. That ball was not hit well, and that's what made it really difficult to field. Kind of trying to backhand it on the short hop. The second baseman for the Hawks did misplay that a little bit, Lindsey Moore. Not sure whether you give that a hit. I'd give that a hit. A little difficult to play. It would have been a tough play with the backspin on that ball as it hit the infield. And so we're going to have a pinch runner now. So the last recorded out was Maddie Cassio. So she comes into pinch run. Must be some sort of injury to Maddie Schmitz. So with 1 out, or 2 outs, Schmitz will run in place, or excuse me, Maddie Cassio will run in place of Schmitz. And so the coach, Buddy Crompton, is discussing those changes with the home plate umpire. As he makes a notation in his official scorecard there. And now we're going to have a pinch runner for the pinch runner. So Maddie Cassio, the center fielder who was going to pinch run, is now given way to number 19 for St. Louis Park. I don't have a listing for her on my information sheet for the Hawks, or for the Orioles, so we just know her as number 19 right now. Oh, Maggie Klein, I'm sorry, I do have it. She's the sub. We broadcasted her name at the beginning of the lineup, so she now enters the game. It'll be interesting to see if she takes a position in the outfield for the top of the fifth, or is she just into pinch run? A little curious that you get a pinch runner down 5-0. If it was 5-4, and you need some speed on the bases, so I'm not quite sure what the reason for the pinch runner was, unless it was just a planned substitution, and since the one she was going to substitute for is already on base, might as well get it in. And there's a nice swing by number 4 for the Orioles. Lindsey Olson delivers a base hit, nicely struck up the middle. And now we have runners on first and second with 2 outs. A lot of 2-out opportunities for both teams. The threats for the Orioles have come with 2 outs, and now they have another scoring threat with Maggie Klein, number 19 on second base. Lindsey Olson is number 4 on first base, and that brings up Caitlin Seaman. There she is, number 56, the second baseman. Base hit would likely get them on the board. And a big low pitch with a lot of heat on it from Riley Collins as she gets the first strike on number 56, Caitlin Seaman. Pitch on away and strike call. So quickly in the hole is Caitlin Seaman. So she's at a disadvantage here. Interesting to see if Riley Collins comes in with the strike or tries to get her to chase one out of the strike zone. And the pitch takes ball 1. Nice eye there by Caitlin Seaman. Still behind in the count at 1-2. Looking to find a base hit here. The Orioles could use a run. A shot of adrenaline. Pitch on away and swung on and missed. Strike 3. Riley Collins strikes her out to end the 4th inning as she did the 3rd inning, and that will be the score. No score for the St. Louis Park Orioles. They threaten with a runner on second with 2 outs, but they end up scoring nothing. So at the end of 4 complete, it remains 5-0 Hawks. So coming up to bat for the Hawks will be leading off this 5th inning is Kenzie Bachman. No, it's going to be, excuse me, number 10, Ronnie Quinn, the shortstop. Or excuse me, I'm mistaken. It is number 17, Kenzie Bachman. She'll be followed by Ronnie Quinn, the shortstop, and up third this inning will be Taylor Brandt, the center fielder. So the Hawks with a 5-0 lead by virtue of putting 5 across the board on the top of the second, all with 2 outs, looking to add to their lead here as we approach the later stages of this match. And the pitch on away from Annabelle Schutte, who is the starter, has gone the whole way. Has really pitched fairly well, just that second inning, giving up the 5. Pitch on away, swung on and missed. Strike 1, count 1-1 to Kenzie Bachman, the first baseman.
Here we go, 17. Here we go, 17.
The 1-1 pitch. Called strike 2 at the knees. Pitch on away, inside. 2-2 the count. Nobody out here, top of the fifth.
Kenzie!
Recording live here from Aquila Park in St. Louis Park, and that offering is hit on to short center field, and running up quickly is the center fielder, making a nice play on the dead run is number 13, Maddie Cassio, who was pinch run for, so she does come back out and to play the field.
Here we go, Ronnie!
So she got to substitute back in. So there's one out, and that brings up number 10, Ronnie Quinn, who on the first pitch delivers a base hit right up the middle, past the pitcher and between the shortstop and second baseman. So with one out, Chaska Hawks have a runner on first, and that brings up the center fielder, Taylor Brandt. Taylor Brandt, a junior outfielder, steps into the box, and the first pitch is high and outside. Ball one.
Here we go, Taylor!
Lots of good chatter from the Chaska Hawks bench, as it is with the Orioles when they're batting. And there's a square round to bunt, but she pulls back. So the count is 1-1 to Taylor Brandt. And swung on, just gets a piece of it to stay alive, or that's strike two. So 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ronnie Quinn, the Hawks shortstop, on first base. 1 out. Orioles in double play formation in the infield, and no need as Annabelle Schutte brings a high, fast fastball, and it gets chased by Taylor Brandt. So that's another strikeout recorded by Annabelle Schutte. So she has 2 outs. Hawks still have a player on first, Ronnie Quinn, and up now is Jessica Wolfer, the right fielder, number 7. She steps in, trying to get another 2-out rally for the Chaska Hawks to add to their 5-0 lead, as she faces an 0-1 count, and now it's 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike to Jessica Wolfer. Jessica Wolfer is a junior infielder, and she swings on that next pitch, with a slow dribbler down the third base line, and unable to handle it is both Schutte and the third baseman, Sophie Ullman. Here's the replay, I believe. Yes, it just was like a bunt, really. Barely got a piece of it, a slow roller, and misplayed by Schutte. She didn't quite get her body over enough to field that properly, and muffs on it. The very next pitch to the batter, who was Sydney Wisdorf, to the second baseman. That is Caitlin Seaman. To the first baseman, Savannah Romero, records the 3rd out. So 1 base hit for the Hawks, but no runs across as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Orioles are still behind 5-0. And due up for the Orioles as they have a meeting. You can see in your screen there, they desperately need to start getting some runs, as they're going to be running out of time. There's only 9 outs left for them to make up 5 runs. So if they're going to get back in this game here in the 5th, they need to break through with some runs, if for no other reason, to get some momentum going. And just to do that, leading off for the Orioles, the top of the order. No better time to have the top of the order. Maddie McIntosh, number 6, will lead it off for the Orioles. She's their shortstop, and a sophomore. So coming up after her, as long as there's no substitutions, and we'll pass those along when we become aware of them. So it's Maddie McIntosh to lead off the 5th, followed by Savannah Romero.
Number 6, Maddie McIntosh.
And followed by her is Anya Lindale Paulson. So 2 sophomores to lead off the top of the 5th, and Maddie McIntosh steps into the box and receives the first pitch from Riley Collins, who started this match and has a shutout going for her Chaska Hawks. Last time these two teams played, the Orioles beat the Hawks in Chaska along the Minnesota River 6-3. But so far this afternoon, they have been unable to put any runs on the board. But Maddie McIntosh faces now a 2-0 count, 2 balls, no strikes. And the pitch on away, and she almost swings, called strike 1. So 2-1 to the sophomore shortstop, Maddie McIntosh. And the pitch on away from Riley Collins is swung on and foul tipped around the plate, which brings the count to 2-2. Nobody out here in the 5th inning. No wind at all here. Beautiful afternoon. Pitch on away, swung on off the tip of the bat. So that means she was way out in front. It looked like Riley Collins took a little something off that pitch. A change up. And McIntosh avoids a strikeout just by barely getting a piece of it. Now the next pitch is way high above the eyes. So now it is 3-2, full count, nobody out to Maddie McIntosh. Should get a good pitch here. I'm sure Riley Collins doesn't want to lead off the top of the 5th with a walk. So here's the pitch on away, and she misses the strike zone. It looked close. So Maddie McIntosh does a nice job working that count to 3-2 and draws the walk. And as they say, walks will haunt. So now it is up to the rest of the Oriole lineup to make her pay for that walk. And so the first person to have that opportunity here in the top of the 5th is Savannah Romero. Number 7 steps into the batter's box with no outs. And she swings at that first pitch, which looked a little low. She fouls it off to the 3rd base side of the infield. So quickly, strike 1 is the count to Savannah Romero, the sophomore first baseman. If she gets on, up next will be Anya Lindale Paulson, number 11 in the batter's box, in the hole, as they say. So the count 1-1 now to Savannah Romero. And the next pitch is swung on and missed. Nice cut there by Savannah Romero, but she misses for strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Here we go, Sydney.
Pitch on away, and that is way high over the head of Savannah Romero. So that evens the count at 2-2. And the pitch on away is swung on, hit out to right field. The right fielder looked like she had a hard time tracking it at first, but then was able to back up and catch it for a nice put out there. That was number 7 for the Chaska Hawks. Jessica Wolfer does a nice job and gets the ball in quickly to hold Maddie McIntosh on first base to first base. So with 1 out, up now is Anya Lindale Paulson, the 3rd batter in the lineup, the left fielder. And the freshman takes ball 1, 1-0 the count. McIntosh on first by virtue of a walk. The Hawks looking for a double play ball in the infield. And the 1-0 count, pitch, and that ball is delivered right back up the middle for a base hit. So Anya Lindell Paulson gets on with a nice hit right up the middle. There's the replay. Well struck, nothing the Hawks could do. So now another bit of a threat. The Orioles have been here before. They've put runners on first and second in a couple innings already, if not three, but have been unable to get any runs across. So now the third baseman, Ullman, swings at the first pitch, and she delivers a base hit to left field. Through the hole between short and third, and the third base coach holds up the runner, number 8, Olson, or no, Maddie McIntosh. So bases are loaded on that base hit. I was surprised they didn't force the issue with Maddie McIntosh, who as a shortstop probably has some wheels. But then again, you don't want to take yourself out of a scoring inning, because if the throw is made and she is out, it definitely puts a damper on things for the Orioles, and they don't want to wreck this opportunity, and they need more than one run to get back in this game. So it probably wasn't worth sacrificing a possible great play by the Hawks. So putting the pressure on the Hawks with bases loaded, and it looks like the head coach, Mr. Crumpton, wants to talk to his batter. Not sure about what, unless it's just to maybe have a more discerning eye of the strike zone, because the advantage goes to the hitter here with bases loaded. It's gonna tend to force the pitcher to pitch more honestly by throwing more strikes. And there she throws one down the middle, and that is hit right back up there for a 2 RBI, 1 out base hit. And the Orioles are on the board 5-2 with a key base hit by number 20, Annabelle Schutte. Helps herself out with a 2-run RBI base hit. And so that brings up Maddie Cassio, the center fielder, the right-handed hitter. Steps in with 1 out and runners on first and second. And first pitch is hit, and that finds green space in right center and gets by the center fielder. That should score 2 runs. And in comes run. Oh, she gets held up right. She just got caught off third base. Can she make him pay? And it doesn't matter, as the throwing air allows her to score at home and advances the runner all the way around to third base, and suddenly it is 5-4 with a beautiful double by number 13, Maddie Cassio. Comes through with a second consecutive 2 RBI base hit, and that will send the pitcher for Chaska to the showers. Riley Collins, after giving up 4 runs on 2 consecutive base hits by the St. Louis Park Orioles, gives way to relief pitcher number 12 for Chaska. That is Delaney Larson, a sophomore. So with only 1 out, the Orioles have come back here with 2 consecutive hits for 4 runs, and now they're only down 1 here, top of the 5th, with a chance to tie it on a base hit or an error by the Hawks. So coming up for the Orioles to try to tie this up is number 8, Maddie Schmitz, the catcher. On third base is Maddie Cassio, who delivers a nice 1-out double to right center field, scoring 2, and that followed Annabelle Schutte's 2 RBI base hit. And so it's 5-4. And a relief pitcher in now for the Chaska Hawks. Boy, it didn't take long for the coach, Christina Stodalka, to pull the hook on her starting pitcher. She had seen enough, and it did appear that the St. Louis Park Orioles, their 3rd time through the lineup, was starting to get to Collins there. And she knows her pitcher as well as anyone. And so we have our warm-up tosses. Stodolka out there with her words of wisdom to her new relief pitcher. And the obligatory committee meeting at the mound is over, and in steps Maddie Cassio, the catcher, with one out. And Cassio on third, and she bunts. The squeeze play works, and no play, not even a play to first base. Well executed, great coaching move there by Crompton to do the suicide squeeze. So while the pitcher comes in, that is a complicated situation. First pitch, and the bunt gets the run across, and she's safe at first. So the score is tied on 3 consecutive hits for the Orioles. And in steps Lindsay Olson, the designated player, with a runner on first by virtue of Maddie Schmitz's RBI bunt. And the first pitch is swung on to center field, and that out is called. It looked like it was not short hopped, and so that records the second out. Let's see the replay to make sure. Yep, she comes in and makes a nice call. Nice catch there by the center fielder at her shoe tops. And she had to take her eye off the ball. She slid to catch that. That can tell you, having played outfield, that was a stellar, and a nice out for the Hawks, and they desperately need it. Now the first pitch, and that is popped up, and so quickly the relief pitcher comes in and quells the rally by St. Louis Park, but not before they get 3 consecutive hits and 5 runs to tie it up in the bottom of the 5th. So we'll go to the 6th inning, tie score 5-5. So nice rally there by the Orioles. They won 6-3 back in April in Chaska. They fell behind 5-0 after a rough top of the 2nd inning, but they answer back in the bottom of the 5th with 5 of their own. And so we have a nice, tight, competitive match between these West Metro Conference rivals, the Chaska Hawks and the St. Louis Park Orioles. Annabelle Schutte will come back in and pitch this top of the 6th. She was the starter and has gone the whole way and has pitched very well, except for that aberration in the 5th. And she will be facing for the Hawks number 5, Lindsay Moore, the second baseman, will lead off, and then it'll be the top of the order with Haley Haas and Michaela Johnson to follow. So Schutte finishing up her warm-up pitches here. As you can see, it's a beautiful clearing blue skies after clouds earlier today. The rain gave way to sunshine, and some beautiful weather is the extended forecast for the St. Louis Park area.
Here we go, Lindsay.
So Schutte finishes her last warm-up, and the throw down to second base to Maddie McIntosh. And so we'll have our committee meeting at the mound. And stepping in, the first batter for the Hawks will be Lindsay Moore, the number 9 hitter. Trying to get something going here.
Here we go, Lindsay.
5-all tie as we're about to get underway here. Pitch on away and swung on and fouled back into the pine tree here behind the backstop and to the right. So quickly a 1-strike count for Schutte. Nice start to the top of the 6th. This time she takes a little bit off and low, so the count 1-1
Here we go, Lindsay.
to Lindsay Moore. The freshman infielder looks at strike 2. So in the hole here, 1 ball, 2 strikes as Annabelle Schutte brings the heat on that last pitch. Pitch on away and swung on and popped up in the infield, and the catcher is unable to handle as she shakes her head in frustration. Tough play. Those catchers have those masks on. They gotta get up. The umpire has to get out of the way. The batter has to get out of the way. They gotta find the ball quickly, try to make a play on it. And that ball wasn't hit very high in the air, so that reduces the amount of time to adjust and try to locate the ball. Tough play there. So now the count is 2-2 to Lindsey Moore. No out here, top of the sixth, 5-all. And swung on and well hit into the hole between short and third. That's where a lot of the Hawks hit. So the second baseman, Lindsey Moore, leads off the sixth with a base hit, which is a nice response to having just given up 5 runs to the Orioles on the road here. So that brings up the top of the order. That's number 6, Haley Haas. Haas is the junior third baseman, and there is a stolen base attempt by Moore, and she is thrown out at second base. What a play by the catcher after missing that, dropping that foul ball, which would have been a sure out. She makes up for it with a beautiful throw to second base, and the tag put on by McIntosh for out number 1. What a boost for the Orioles there to squelch any semblance of a rally there by the Hawks. So 1 out now, nobody on, and the count is no balls, 2 strikes for Schutte as she, oh, close. That pitch could have been a strike. Call the ball though. So 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1 out here in the top of the 6th, and that pitch also just misses. So now the count is even, 2-2. And the delivery from Schutte is swung on to short left field, and waiting for it nicely is the left fielder for the Orioles. Anya Lindell-Paulson had her played perfectly. She hardly had to take a step to catch that ball. Well positioned. So good scouting report on that last one. And so now there's 2 outs, nobody on, and up is Michaela Johnson, and she swings at the first pitch and also finds some green in left field. And so with 2 outs, a base hit for Michaela Johnson, who is the catcher for the Hawks, and that will bring, here's the replay, and she gets a nice swing on it and just finds some space in left field in front of the left fielder. And now the pitch on away to number 9, Sydney Swenson, the left fielder, batting third in the lineup. Will try to get a rally going here with 2 outs, and her teammate Michaela Johnson on first by virtue of that single. And she now, Sydney Swenson that is down in the count, 0-2 with 2 outs. And Schutte wants to get out of this inning and go hit in the 6th. And the pitch on away is inside. So ball 1, 1-2 now the count to Sydney Swenson, the junior infielder for the Hawks. Takes that pitch for a ball, so 2-2. The count from Aquila Park here in St. Louis Park, tie game, top of the 6th, 2 outs. Pitch on away, swung on to the third baseman, Ullman, who picks it up and nicely throws her out. Ball over to the first baseman, so that records the 3rd out. And so 1 hit, 2 no runs across as we go to the bottom of the 6th, tie score 5-5. So the Orioles, after scoring 5 in the 5th, look to keep the run train going here. And if they can get a run here in the bottom of the 6th and get the Hawks out at the top of the next inning, that'll win the game. So they are 1 run and 3 outs away from beating the Hawks for the 2nd time this year. And coming out to pitch is the relief pitcher for the Hawks. And that is Delaney Larson, who came in after the starter gave way to her after she gave up 5 runs. And Delaney was able to stop the rally at 5 by recording the last out. So now she'll come in for her first full inning as she delivers her final warm-up pitch. And the throw down to second, and the committee meeting is being held and adjourned. So stepping into the batter's box will be the leadoff hitter, Maddie McIntosh, and she got the rally going as the leadoff hitter in the top of the 5th inning, and she'd like to do it again here as well. So looking at this new pitcher, Delaney Larson, for the first time. Maddie McIntosh swings at the first pitch and pops out to the third baseman, number 6, Haley Haas. So batter number 6 is put out unassisted, third baseman, number 6, Haley Haas. So that brings up number 7, Savannah Romero, the first baseman, with 1 out, top of the 6th. She asks for time as she prepares the batter's box. Larson, 1 pitch, 1 out here in the top of the 6th, and she delivers and swung on and missed. Strike 1, the count to Savannah Romero. She takes a couple of practice swings there, asks for time, steps into the box, and the pitch on away from Delaney Larson, and there is ball 1. So 1-1 the count to Romero. Looking to get a run. There's only been scoring in 2 half innings. Both teams got 5. Chaska's coming in the top of the 2nd, and St. Louis Park's in the bottom of the 5th. And that pitch called a ball from Delaney Larson. So 2-1 the count to the 2nd hitter in the lineup, Savannah Romero. Looking to get on, and she swings and misses. Low fastball. So now the count is even, 2-2. Her warm-up swings there. She slows it down right at the point of impact. So, but she'll be needing to protect the plate, and that ball just a little bit low. So now the count full to Savannah Romero. I would expect she's going to get a good pitch here from Delaney Larson. She doesn't want to give up a walk here. Pitch on away, and she does give up the walk. That pitch is high. So the Orioles get a base runner with 1 out. Nice job there by Savannah Romero working that count. And that brings up number 11, Anya Lindell Paulson.
Outfield, you're firing 3.
She looks in to face Delaney Larson for the first time. So this is the first time the Orioles have had a look, and she swings on that first pitch, which is a line shot to the third baseman, Haley Haas, and she knocks it down, but unable to handle it. So that is a base hit. I would credit to Lindell Paulson, and she advances the runner to second base. So now with 1 out, by virtue of that base hit by Paulson, there's a runner in scoring position for number 12, Sophie Ullman, the third baseman, and she would love to get a base hit here, and she drills it up the middle, knocked down by the pitcher, who's able to gather herself and pick it up. I don't think she's hurt there at all. And to record the first out, or excuse me, the second out, but that puts 2 runners in scoring position, and an excellent opportunity here for St. Louis Park to get the lead, and that prompts a visit from one of the Chaska coaches. I believe that's Christina Stodlicka, who is probably coming out to check on her player. I think she may have gotten hit a little bit on that, knocking down that pitch, but also using it for an opportunity to talk to her pitcher about what they're facing here, because there are runners in scoring position. Here comes the ump to break up the, so here's that pitch. Yeah, it did hit her in the knee, it looked like. Didn't appear that she was that hurt. But again, it could be a ruse just for the coach to come in and go through different scenarios. But the conversation is now I would characterize as a little bit extended. I don't know what they could be talking about there. There's some body movement. You can't really see. There's a fan out there running around. Left field. Nice day to have your family at the park. No wind. Nice high pressure temperature. And now there's going to be some warm-up pitches. I think this is a little bit much, but I guess you want to test everything out. You never know until you take a few pitches. So they're going to afford her that opportunity. And the looks like the ponytailed pitcher here, Delaney Larson, is going to remain in the game, and she gets the fist bump from Stadlika. So after a delay, Annabelle Schutte is next up, the pitcher for the Orioles. Chance to get the game-winning hit here is Annabelle Schutte. Base hit would likely score 2 and a nice cushion to go into the top of the 7th and the possible win. And she swings on the first pitch, and unfortunately for the Orioles, just a little blooper to the shortstop for the 3rd out. So the Orioles threaten to take the lead here in the bottom of the 6th with runners on 2nd and 3rd. But Delaney Larson, after taking a batted ball off the knee with 1 pitch, ends the inning and the threat from the Orioles. So we'll go to the top of the 7th. Tie score here, 5-all. So the Chaska Hawks have a committee meeting along the right field, and you can see how even this score is. 5 runs apiece, 11 hits to 10 hits. 2 errors by St. Louis Park, but tie score nevertheless. And Annabelle Schutte will come out to pitch the top of the 7th. As you can see the shadow coming across the infield, that can wreak havoc on the eyesight of the hitter, having a ball come in from the light into the shade. It'll be hard to say whether that actually impacts the hitting of the Hawks here in the top of the 7th. And leading off in the top of the 7th will be number 17 for the Hawks, Kenzie Bachman, the tall first baseman. Will lead off to face Schutte here, top of the 7th. We're getting down to the end. Every hit is going to take on added importance. So Christina Stadlika will coach 3rd base, the coach for the Hawks, as Schutte delivers the first pitch, and it's a called strike. So nice start for the top of the 7th. And we've got a nail biter here in this conference matchup between the Chaska Hawks and the St. Louis Park Orioles. And that offering is a ball from Schutte, so the count 1-1 to Kenzie Bachman. Pitch on away, and that is high, ball 2, 2-1. Not a lot of substitutions by either team. I think the starting lineup has remained the same for the Orioles. There was a pinch runner briefly, but that's about it. Both teams going with their original starting lineups here late in the game, other than the pitcher for the Hawks, who was replaced after giving up 5 runs in the bottom of the 6th. So the pitch on away, the 3-1 count is called a strike, so now full count to Kenzie Bachman. Pitch on away, and she skirts out of the way. So that is called a ball, so that's a walk for Kenzie Bachman as she takes first base. The first base coach now comes over to the 3rd base coach for some conversation about what they want to tell the runner. So the first base coach, you can see him there trotting back to his position. See if he has anything to whisper to. He does give a message to the runner on first, and the first pitch is hit right up the middle, but picked up by the 2nd baseman, and the force out at 2. Nicely done by number 56 for the Orioles, Caitlin Seaman. That was a hot shot, and she does a nice job getting the lead runner forced out at 2nd to eliminate a serious scoring threat. So that first recorded out here in the top of the 7th is a big one for the Orioles. And in steps in is number 25, Taylor Brandt, as she tries to bunt and fouls it off. So early strike one here for Schutte with 1 out. And we do have a pinch runner now in for Kenzie Bachman, and that's Ronnie Quinn now is on first base as a pinch runner. She's usually the shortstop for the Hawks. Or excuse me, she's the one that got there in a fielder's choice. I was mistaken about that. And there's a nice bunt put down. Beautiful bunt by number 25, Taylor Brandt. Yeah, that was my fault. The first baseman was forced out at second on the prior play. So on that play, Ronnie Quinn reached first base on the fielder's choice. And so she takes second on the beautiful bunt by Taylor Brandt. So now we have some meetings. There's some signs from the third base coach to the next hitter is Jessica Wolfer with a chance to break the tie here with just 1 out. And her teammate Ronnie Quinn on second base. So base hit would usually score the runner from second. So Schutte has her work cut out for her. As now we have a timeout and Buddy Crompton, the coach, comes out to have a full team, full board of directors meeting. All 9 players come running in. And Buddy Crompton again is going to go over the different scenarios with 1 out. Just to remind, to go through a checklist. Out playing in the outfield or the infield, you want to go through the scenario. If the ball comes to me, what am I doing with it? Does it come to me fast or slow? Last time they were in this situation, the Hawks had runners on first and second, and the ball was hit to the shortstop sharply enough where she was able to make a play for the force out at third. Ideally, the Orioles would love to get a double play here. So the pitch on away with 1 strike, and that is a ball. So 1-1 the count, 1 out. Hitting for the Hawks is number 7, Jessica Wolfer, the right fielder. And she swings, hits it to the right side of the field, and there's a pitch to Maddie McIntosh, or the toss, the force out at second, and the relay to 1 is not in time for the double play. And that was tailor-made for a double play. Right to the second baseman for the 4-6-3 double play, but the ball is late to first base, and the baselines are not real long here, so you really got to turn it. So now with 2 outs, that's a key out by the Orioles, but it does advance Ronnie Quinn to third base, so base hit will for sure score 1, and Schutte offers the first pitch to Sydney Wisdorf. Or excuse me, yes, Sydney Wisdorf is up. She's the designated player, number 8, and she takes strike 1. So now 2 outs, runners on first and third to the number 8 hitter, number 8, Wisdorf, as she takes ball 1. So 1-1 the count. Tight ball game here. Go ahead run just 60 feet away on third base for the Hawks as Schutte delivers. And I would think that the runner on first for the Hawks, who is number 7, Jessica Wolfer, would be stealing, because it probably wouldn't draw a throw to second base, because if there was an error, that would allow the runner to score. And there's a swing and a miss, and Schutte really brought the heat on that pitch to even the count at 2-2 with 2 outs. Doesn't get closer than this. Top of the 6th inning, top of the 7th inning, and that is swung on, and that ball is going to find some green, and that is going to be a go-ahead RBI for Sydney Wisdorf as she comes through with 2 outs. And big cheers from the Chaska Hawk faithful as they get the go-ahead run here in the 6th on a clutch hit by Wisdorf with 2 outs and 2 strikes. So that advances the runner on the hit. So we have runners on first and second. Jessica Wolfer is on second. Wisdorf with what would be the game-winning hit if the score remains the same here. And up now is Lindsay Moore, the number 9 hitter, and number 5 on her jersey as she takes ball 2. So 2-0. Schutte probably a little shook after that, giving up that base hit. I'm sure she was very disappointed. But now it looks like she settles down and delivers a strike. So the pressure is going to be on the Orioles. They're going to have to score in the bottom of the 7th to stay in this match. Pitch on away, and that is low. Ball 3, so 3-1. Lindsay Moore would love to deliver a base hit here to get an insurance run. Really competitive game here as Chaska scored 5 in the top of the 1st. And then we're cruising along. That being Riley Collins, the starting pitcher, but then she gives up 5 in the bottom of the 5th. And it's been tied since then. And now with 2 outs and a 1-run lead, swung on and fouled to the right. Brings the count full to the number 9 hitter, Lindsay Moore. Pitch on away, and that is swung on, and it's going to be a pop-up to the center fielder. She takes a step back and then moves in and makes the catch for the 3rd out, but not without the Hawks scoring 1 to take the lead, 6-5, and we'll head to the bottom of the 7th, where the Orioles need to score 1 to stay in the game and 2 to win the game. So after scoring 5 in the bottom of the 5th, they're going to need to come up with some clutch hitting. They don't tie it here in the bottom of the 7th, they will lose the game, as the 7th inning is the length of girls varsity softball. So Chaska has put up 12 hits, St. Louis Park 10 hits, and just a 1-run difference between these 2 conference rivals here in the Metro West. A nice young fan enjoying the afternoon, listening to the music. Gorgeous day it's turned out to be here in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, on this early spring day. So the committee meeting is over on the sideline, but that before we're going to do some warm-up pitches as Delaney Larson, who has come in relief in the bottom of the 5th, has kept the Orioles quiet on the base paths and on the scoreboard. And she'll come in here to try to close this road win out for the Hawks. Coming up for the Orioles, leading off the top of the 7th, will be number 12, or excuse me, number 13, Maddie Cassio, who delivered a nice 2-run base hit in the bottom of the 5th to contribute to that rally to tie the score, as they were down 5-0, the Orioles were, coming into the bottom of the 5th. And now they're going to have to come back again here in their last at-bat, unless they tie it here in the bottom of the 7th. So up for the Orioles will be Maddie Cassio, the center fielder, followed by Maddie Schmitz, the catcher, and Lindsay Olson, the designated player, unless there's some substitutions. But it looks like Maddie Schmitz is on deck, so in steps Maddie Cassio to face Delaney Larson of the Hawks. Pitch on away, and that first pitch is called a strike right at the letters. Or no, it looks like it was called a ball. I thought looked like it was a strike call from the umpire, but apparently it was a ball according to the scoreboard. So 1-0 the count, and that ball is low, ball 2. So not the best start here for Delaney Larson, offering 2 balls. So Maddie Cassio will likely be taking on this pitch. She leans in and she swings. I was mistaken, and pops it up just out of play. Or no, in play, but foul, and an unassisted put out. Nice play by the first baseman, Kenzie Bachman, to record that all-important first out. So the Hawks are just 2 outs away from evening the series, the season series. The Orioles won back, I think it was on April 20th in Chaska. And they're 2 outs away from winning this one 6-5. And that is swung on to the first baseman, and she makes the unassisted put out for out 2. So now just like that, 2 pitches by Delaney Larson results in 2 foul put outs by the first baseman. And so now with 2 outs, Lindsay Olson is the last hope here for the Orioles. The designated player steps in, looking for any way to get on base, and Delaney Larson throws first pitch, ball 1. So just like that, we're at basically match point here. Lindsay Olson needs to find a way to get on base, and so far she's off to a good start as she has a discerning eye there. So 2 balls, no strikes. Pitch on away, low, ball 3. So surprising that we have 3 straight balls from Delaney Larson. I don't know if that's nerves, but with 2 outs and nobody on, and the bottom of the order at the plate, be more aggressive, but 4 straight balls. So I have to attribute that to a little bit of nerves. So the Orioles stay alive and get a runner. And so now who would be due up would be Caitlin, the second baseman, Seaman, but there's going to be a pinch hitter.
On field, you're firing 3.
And so that's the coach there reporting the substitution to the umpire. And stepping into the plate will be Maggie Klein. And she is listed as a sub. And she was in for a cameo pinch running situation a few innings ago. And now this will be her first at bat of the game with the game on the line. So talk about pressure, the left-handed hitting. Maggie Klein steps in with a runner on first to try to extend this game. Down 1, 2 outs, and she delivers a clutch base hit to right center field that'll advance the runner to just second base. Not a lot of speed there from Moore, who was on first base, or Lindsay Olson, excuse me, but she does advance her into scoring position. So well done, nice move there by the coach, Buddy Crompton, as Maddie Klein delivers a key base hit, and that'll bring up Maddie McIntosh. And so the chess game continues as now Christina Stadlika calls for or Stadolka, I should say, calls for a meeting about what are the possible scenarios here with 2 outs. Runners on first and second. The good news for the Hawks is on a ground ball, you can get a force at any base except home. Sure, that's been covered. So a ball hit to the left side of the infield, meaning the shortstop or the third baseman. Probably try to get the force out at third. If the ball is hit to the pitcher or to the right side of the infield, I'm sure the instructions are to bring it to first. And any fly ball, you don't want to get the ball by the outfielders because the winning run is on first base. So any ball hit to the gap could lead to 2 scores and a game-winning walk-off hit. And Maddie McIntosh has a great opportunity here, the sophomore shortstop, to deliver not only a tying hit, but a game-winning hit if she gets a hold of it. So the first pitch is ball 1. So the pitcher, Delaney Larson, having a difficult time finding the strike zone here with the game on the line, and now facing a scoring threat here, all with 2 outs, and the second pitch is also a ball that is called a strike. That looked low from my vantage point. Liberal strike zone there suddenly, and now the count is 1-1. 2 outs, bottom of the 7th, down 1 for the Orioles. Leadoff hitter Maddie McIntosh steps in, and this time she does take ball 2. That was clearly low. And you can see the shadows there. And there's Maddie McIntosh, the sophomore shortstop. Pitch on away, and that is also low, and it gets by the catcher. That has clearly got to be nerves on the behalf of Delaney Larson. She had not been showing those many balls outside of the strike zone in the first 2 innings as she came in relief in the bottom of the 5th and pitched a great 6th inning. And now with 2 outs, runners on 2nd and 3rd, and a real opportunity here for the shortstop Maddie McIntosh as she delivers a hit, and the call is out, and a diving catch by the shortstop to end the game is Ronnie Quinn. Can we see the replay? And there is a giant celebration out there at shortstop. And here, what a diving catch as she does get glove and holds that snow cone of a softball to win the game with a stellar, outstanding pitch. Ronnie Quinn records the 3rd out, and that will end. And there's Maddie McIntosh. She really hit it well, but it took a stellar defensive play by the Hawks. And so that is your final score from Aquila Park here in St. Louis Park. The Chaska Hawks edged the St. Louis Park Orioles 6-5. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again.